Hello, world. It's John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger, podcaster, Sky King impersonator today, since we're talking to Eric Syren, certified drone pilot, about all things drone. Hello, Eric. How are you today?
Very well, John. Thank you.
And we have another drone pilot on a different level than Eric, but a drone pilot, Rafael Betances. How are you, Rafael?
I'm doing great, John. Thank you again for having us.
Very good. Well, you don't see a lot of videos on what kind of a drone to buy, especially when you have a personal user photographer like Rafael, and then you have a professional that's certified and buying multiple drones for multiple users and getting multiple users certified. So, Eric, I guess we will start with you. We're talking about how to figure out what kind of features and specs you want to get in a drone. I don't even know where to start. So, where does one start?
Well, the first thing you want to decide really is what are you going to be using your drone for? Is this just some, hobby that you want to have some fun with, fly around, take some pictures? Um, there are racing drones. People get into the hobby and the sport of racing drones, if you can believe that. Or maybe you want to use it for a business purpose. There's real estate companies that take photographs of the outside of the house with a drone. Or in our case, we use it as a licensed inspector, such as your home inspector or your roof inspector, and can actually get into areas that you would no longer or would not want to climb on. We can get up there with the drone and take a look at the top of the roof and all the components up there.
Okay, very good. And Rafael, when you were choosing a drone, mostly for photography reasons, what were your criteria and what did you wind up buying?
So my criteria were height and range because I was mainly buying it for pleasure. Well, I have it. I bought it for pleasure, and I wanted to check out this rural area in the Dominican Republic, where I wanted to see what was up and over the mountain, and I got a little attachment that would help out the antenna signal reach and all that. So I actually got the Mavic 2 Pro, which has some pretty impressive features like 70 mile an hour and active point of view and point of reference, and like follows you and things like that.
Yeah.
Hmm. And what kind of a camera does that have?
4K Halsbold camera, I believe it's what it's called.
Mhm.
And it does video and stills, right?
That's correct. And you can actually create a still as you're taking a video. So the controller has a different button that you can take photos as you go. If you're already in shooting mode, et cetera, et cetera. It actually has a cinematic option as well. Um, I can't speak much on that, but it's more of the impression when you have big targets in front of one another, like a big mountain in front of a taller mountain, and like it kind of gives you that cinematic look when you're
Hmm.
shooting with it. It's a lot of good features.
Good. So, Eric, how many drones does HomeGuard have?
Ooh, that's I would have to
More
say
than 10, less than 20?
we have more than 20. We probably have about 30 to 40 drones.
And how many certified pilots do you have?
And all those pilots have to be certified before they're allowed to fly those.
And is there one pilot per drone, or do they share the drones?
Nope. Everyone has their own drone and pilots their own drone.
Oh, okay. And where does one begin to spec out and research? Is there like a road and track or an Edmunds car guide of drones?
Yeah, there are actually people with blogs about drones. There are different websites with drone information on there. And you want to probably get into that. Look on a forum, start reading about things that people talk about, issues they may have. You're never going to be sorry if you spend a little bit more time before you spend a little bit more money on those drones. You can get into drones for as little as $100. Up at the DJI level, you're going to be over
Yeah.
the $1,000 mark. Um, but you got to make sure what is important to you as far as getting that drone. You don't need to buy a $1,200 drone just to fly around and take pictures of the neighborhood and things like that. Someday you may want to upgrade to that, but it's not necessary to go out and have fun and even have a nice Christmas present for someone in the house to get one of those entry-level drones to get into it.
That's good advice. And Rafael, from your perspective as a pleasure user, as opposed to Eric, who's conducting business on it, how would you advise people to start their research on looking at and eventually purchasing a drone?
Just like Eric said, sit down and really think about the reasons why you're getting this drone, and if you're looking for range and capability,
Mhm.
then you're probably gonna be spending a little more, as opposed to if you're just looking to see what's above your roof, or if you're looking, to just inspect a flat farmland or things like that, you could buy a cheaper drone because you don't need the 72-mile-an-hour capability. You just need to see what's over there and you can't get to it, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends of what the purpose of your usage is.
Okay. And what would you say, gentlemen? I'll throw this out to both of you. Eric, you can answer first. What would be the price range from an introductory drone for personal pleasure use versus a more expensive drone that you might want to have holed up for use in thousands of inspections over the years? I'll take your answer, Eric, first.
Yeah, you're going to need to invest at least at the $1,000 price point if you want to use this for professional use. It's going to have a lot more features. Like I said, you can buy a drone for about $100 and you can have a lot of fun with that. And you're not using it every day. You're not trying to use it for your business. But they can get very expensive. And there'll be more features, obviously. There'll be longer battery life. There'll be better cameras. They can have auto flight where the drone hovers for you. You don't have to be worried about controlling that thing. It can actually work autonomously. It can follow a target. Maybe you want to get into cinematography or something like that. A lot of stuff in Hollywood that we used to have to use a helicopter for, now they put a drone up there. Obviously, a lot less expensive way to get that shot.
That was very helpful. And
Yeah.
Rafael, what words of the wise do you have?
No, absolutely. I would say that drones can go up to 30 grand depending on what you're
Yeah.
using it for, right? Like there are drones that are, feeding farm fields and things like that.
Mhm.
So it just really depends of what it's being used for. Everyday drone for pleasure. I'll recommend DJI, like
Yeah.
Eric was saying, and they have all kinds of price targets for those. They have $400, $700 Mavic
Right.
Air, and all that. So
And that was DJI, did I hear you say?
that's correct. DJI. I believe they're Japanese. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but
Is that a manufacturer or a distributor?
manufacturer.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Eric, do you have a certain preference for a manufacturer?
Actually, we're actually all using the DJI Mavic Pro 2, which is basically the same drone that Rafael has, because we needed to have those features and we wanted to have the high definition because if you're doing inspections with this thing, you've got to have a very crisp, clear photo and you can zoom in on that and not lose any resolution. So you have to be up to that level to be able to use that to make a competent inspection.
Good. I think we might have covered, if not all the bases, many of the bases. Do you have any parting words, Eric, for people that are thinking about buying a drone?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that some people don't think about is you're going to want to get a case. Even if you have $100 drone, you don't want to break your drone or sit on it or drop it. So think about a case when you're starting to think about pricing out that drone.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Raphael, what words to the wise do you have?
Absolutely. Like Eric said, I think a case is probably the most important thing. And then also understand understand the ability of the drone, that just
Yeah.
because a drone would go 70 miles an hour doesn't mean that that's how fast you should go every time you fly it, right? So you
Yeah.
should be aware, and just follow the rules, little things like always make sure that your drone is in sight, right? Never flying your
Mhm.
drone out of sight and things like that. um that's key, because you don't want to lose a toy that's that expensive. That's the
Yeah.
only way I look at it. And I have many funny stories that I can tell you, after we're done here. But I actually went through it in Yosemite, where I had to jump and save my drone out of the middle of the creek. So I'll leave it at that. But
Wow.
Well, what I'm hearing from Rafael, and I'm sure it's in your messaging too, Eric, is there is a similarity to riding a motorcycle in that whenever I'm talking to young motorcycle riders, I tell them the way you become an old motorcycle rider
Mhm.
is you underestimate your ability and you have respect for the ability of the bike and understand that the bike's abilities may far exceed your own. Would you say that's a good
yeah,
metaphor, gentlemen?
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yep.
You can get yourself in
Well,
trouble real fast.
You
that's
can.
correct. While you're not hooked to the drone and flying with it, that there's that difference, but there's all sorts of environmental damage that you can cause with the drone, and and birds out there, and it falling on the wrong place, etc., etc.
I would imagine, certified pilot or not, you probably need to be completely alert and aware and not under the influence of having a beer or two or a glass of wine or a glass of scotch or anything else. You need to be in the here and now, correct?
That's
Abs-
correct.
Absolutely. And actually, to be an FAA certified pilot, you cannot be under the influence when you're operating that drone. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, it's a flying projectile, which could
It
do damage.
absolutely.
It's
Yep.
like driving a car,
Yep.
riding a motorcycle. Well, this has been very helpful. I really appreciate you imparting all of this information. And in closing, Rafael, if people want to order roof termite home inspection reports, how do they contact you?
Absolutely. You guys can either call me or text me at 707-616-8762. And just to add to that, just this is another reason why the HomeGuard experience is so important when you're, trying to provide your clients with top of the line service. It's because we have done, the legwork to be able to get certified and get, the proper equipment in order to provide you that top of the line service, up to industry standard, with services like chimney drone inspections and roof drone inspections and things like that. So we are very capable. We are certified. We basically, we know what we're doing when it comes to that. So, and that's what makes the HomeGuard experience so great. So keep that in mind when you guys are looking to provide that top service to your clients.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, gentlemen, for imparting all that good information. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next video.